Welcome back everyone as we explore this lovely story from Jesus about the man who built a house on a rock and the man who built the house on the clay. And I want to look today about the man who built on the bad foundation. So remember the story from Luke chapter 6. The man built his house on ground, not on rock, and the waters come and dissolve the soil, the ground underneath, and the house falls down. What does this mean? Well, the first thing to say is that Jesus often was referring to things in the Old Testament. And I want to take you to Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 14. And here is a story again of two houses or two dwellings. And this is what God is saying through the prophet Isaiah to the people of Jerusalem at that time. Therefore hear the word of the Lord, you scoffers who rule this people in Jerusalem. You boast, we have entered into a covenant with death, with the grave we have made an agreement. When an overwhelming scourge sweeps by, it cannot touch us. For we have made a lie our refuge, that's to say like a house, and falsehood our hiding place, our shelter. This is what the sovereign Lord says. See, I lay a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone for a sure foundation. The one who trusts will never be dismayed. I will make justice the measuring line and righteousness the plumb line. Hail will sweep away your refuge, the lie, and water will overflow your hiding place. And so we get the idea here that there are again two houses, a foundation stone and a false foundation. I am certain that Jesus was drawing on his hearers' knowledge of this story. And in this story, the foundation stone of the bad house, if you like, the false one, is an agreement with the grave, with a sort of philosophy of death. It's really quite strange. Just to look back on it if you want to, verse 14 or 15. We have made a covenant with death, with the grave we've made an agreement. And this is almost certainly talking about Egyptian philosophies of religion back then. You may have done in primary school some of the philosophies of the ancient Egyptians. They were having other gods. And the sovereign Lord here is giving a word saying, do not have other gods. We live in a society which abounds with other ideas, other philosophies, other gods. Those gods may be to do with Islam or Hinduism. It may be to do with Wicca or other sort of spiritualities. It may be to do with secularism, with the idea that we know best and we can work it out. Not that science is bad, but we start to make science a god. There are many other philosophies in our present age. And this story from Jesus says, and the story from Isaiah says, this is a false foundation. It will be swept away. The foundation is Jesus. More of that a few times ahead. But do not put your trust in these other foundations. They will collapse. So, what do you look towards for your security? Is it some ideas from Islam or other spiritualities? I don't know, from Eastern philosophies, from yoga or from Reiki or these kinds of things? Is it that you put your trust in science and don't look to God? Whatever you put above Jesus becomes a false god, a false foundation, and it will be swept away in the fullness of time. So says Jesus.